chances are your organization is already using or building AI right now. But here's the real question. Are you actually prepared for the brand new class of threats that comes along with it? Today, we're going to break down this new frontier of AI security, and believe me, it's a landscape of incredible opportunity, but also one filled with critical new risks that you absolutely need to understand.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we're going to tackle it in 3 clear steps. First, we'll define the problem. What are these new risks your AI is facing? Then we'll explore the solution, the global regulations that are taking shape faster than you might think. And finally, we'll get to the action, a strategic roadmap to make sure your AI is secure, compliant, and ready for the real world.
All right, let's dive right into the problem. See, AI systems introduce these really unique vulnerabilities that your traditional cybersecurity measures, well, they just weren't built to handle them. This isn't just about a software update. We are talking about a whole new playbook.
So one of the first places attackers go is right to the source, the very foundation of your AI. This can happen in a couple of ways. On one side, you have data poisoning. This is pretty straightforward. Attackers inject bad, malicious data into your training sets, and that can lead to biased or even harmful results. But then there's AI poisoning, which is way more subtle. Here, attackers manipulate the actual training process, embedding hidden backdoors that they can come back and exploit later.
Okay, next up, we've got attacks designed to straight up fool the machine. The big term for this is adversarial attacks. Basically, manipulating the input data to trick an AI into making the wrong call. A really dangerous version of this is an evasion attack. Just imagine changing a few pixels in an image, so few that you or I would never notice, but it's enough to make an AI security system completely misidentify a threat. It's all about finding and exploiting the blind spots in the machine's vision.
And it doesn't stop there. Another huge risk: the model itself can be exploited. On one hand, you've got something called model inversion. This is where an attacker can essentially query your AI over and over again to reverse engineer and pull out the sensitive, private data it was trained on. On the other hand, there's just outright model theft, where bad actors steal your entire proprietary model, your intellectual property. I mean, we're talking something that could be worth millions.
So it's not just about attacking AI anymore. Now the bad guys are actually using AI as a weapon. We're seeing AI-generated phishing emails that are so personalized and convincing, they're almost impossible to spot. We're seeing deepfakes used for incredibly sophisticated scams. And then there's prompt injection. This is where an attacker hides a malicious command inside a totally innocent-looking prompt, tricking a language model into doing something it shouldn't, like leaking sensitive company data.
And here's the scary part. This threat is just getting bigger and more sophisticated. Just over the horizon, we've got things like malicious GPTs. These are models specifically altered to pump out harmful content or even generate attack code. And what's really alarming is AI-enhanced malware that can actually learn and adapt on the fly, making it smart enough to get around the traditional security we all rely on.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem, and yeah, it's pretty complex, and it's evolving fast. But that brings us to the solution, a global regulatory response. You see, governments all over the world are waking up to these risks, and they're starting to lay down some very clear rules for AI security.
Leading the charge here is the European Union with its big, landmark EU AI Act. It was approved in March 2024, and it's really setting the standard for the rest of the world. The core idea is what's called a risk-based approach. It basically sorts AI systems into categories from unacceptable risk all the way down to minimal. And for those systems in the high-risk category, it slaps on some very strict rules for things like risk management, data governance, and cybersecurity.
And listen, they are not messing around with the penalties for non-compliance. We're talking fines up to 35 million euros, or 7% of a company's global annual revenue, whichever one is higher. Yep, that's not a typo. That's a number that gets everyone's attention.
And you know, this isn't just a European thing. This is a global movement. In the United States, the approach is a bit more decentralized, with the NIST AI risk management framework really serving as the cornerstone. The United Nations just adopted a major resolution on ethical AI, and big groups like the OECD and G7 are all pushing hard for a unified approach to governance. So the message from all of this is crystal clear. Accountability is coming, and it's coming fast.
All right, we've talked about the problem. We've looked at the global solution that's taking shape. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for. What can you actually do about it? This is your path to building an AI program that's secure, resilient, and, of course, compliant.
You know, as you start to dig into all these global regulations, something really interesting happens. A pattern starts to emerge. They're all really pointing towards 5 critical security areas.
You've got data privacy, preventing those adversarial attacks, securing your models from vulnerabilities, ensuring fairness and kicking out bias, and finally, being transparent about how your AI actually works.
So, with that in mind, here's a practical 5-step game plan to get you started. Step 1, catalog. You need to create an inventory of all your AI systems and figure out their risk levels. You can't protect what you don't know you have. Step 2, create standards. You need clear, consistent rules for how AI gets developed, tested, and rolled out across the board. 3, beef up your cybersecurity. Go beyond the basics and put in measures that specifically hunt for these new AI vulnerabilities. 4, develop clear policies. Use compliance tools to document everything and make sure everyone is following the new rules. And finally, number 5, vet your partners. Make absolutely sure that any third-party vendor you bring in takes AI security just as seriously as you do.
Okay, let's bring this all together. Following this path is not just about dodging fines or checking boxes. This is about turning what seems like a burden into a serious competitive advantage. Proactive AI governance isn't a nice-to-have anymore, it's an operational necessity that can truly set you apart.
So it really all comes down to this. Look, the threat landscape is real and it is evolving by the day. At the same time, the rules of the road, the regulations, are getting clearer and more serious. And that means that your action, taking a smart, strategic approach to AI security, goes way beyond just managing risk. It becomes your key differentiator that builds trust with your customers, your partners, and the regulators.
And all of this really boils down to one final critical question. It's the one every single leader should be asking themselves right now. In this new world of sophisticated threats and serious regulations, is your AI ready for reality?